I hope that you have had a lot of fun practicing the steps to create the pivot tables, and you have also familiarized yourselves with the various layout views. Let's now jump in to build and customize our pivot tables. If you notice on the right, the pivot table fields is not visible. So to pull this out, all you need to do is to select the pivot table analyze tab, select the fields list option, and your pivot table field is now showing. Let's begin by pulling the product code down to the rows area and the product code down into the values area as well. And let's widen the column. So there we have it, our very first pivot table that we have customized. Let me explain what this is showing us. What Excel has done is to pull the 10 products down into the rows, and it has also counted the number of times these products have been sold across the regions in 2021. So for example, product 010N has sold once, and the total for all the products is 21. All the products have been sold 21 times in 2021. Now let's add the data for each quarter into the table simply by checking these boxes. You may also drag and pull this into the values area. If for some reason you do not want any of this data, you can simply pull them out of the area, or you can uncheck it. Let's put them back in. I've intentionally put in the sum for quarter 2 at the last column. If you find that you have made an error, you simply have to left click and you drag it all the way up to right after quarter 1, and you notice that Excel has placed this now in between quarter 1 and quarter 3. So it's as simple as that. If I now want to add in the total sales for 2021 in this column here, I simply have to hit the pivot table analyze tab and select this field here, and calculated field, let's select that option, and let's label this as total sales 2021, and the formula for this would be the sum of all the 4 quarters. So let's do that. Let's select quarter 1, insert this field, plus quarter 2, let's insert this field, plus quarter 3, let's insert this field, plus quarter 4, let's insert this field and hit the OK tab. And let's drag this out a little bit. And Excel has actually done 2 things over here. One is included this sales into this table, and it has also included this as a field into the pivot table fields. So this now becomes available if you want to use it in other pivot tables in future. I can also now look at the data that I have here, and I can sort this by the highest to the largest. So let's click anywhere here and right click to sort this from the largest to the smallest, and you can immediately see that product 004E has contributed to the highest sales, and product 009T has contributed the lowest product sales. I can also show this in terms of percentage. So I just have to right click anywhere here and show this as a percentage. And you can see that product 004E has contributed to 23.82%, and product 009T has contributed to 4.9%. Right? So if I don't want to see this as a percentage anymore, I can Control Z, right, to return this back to the absolute value. Now, if I also want to show this as region, all I need to do is to select the region and put it into the filter. And you notice that this has been put into the filter. And if I want to look at the sales by Europe, I just have to select Europe. And I would notice that Europe has contributed to seen 3 of these products being sold here. And if I want to return this back to all the other regions, I just hit OK. And if you find that this is the data that you need and you are done, you simply now have to format. You just have to format the data, your table. So for example, I can widen this columns here. Let's make it a little smaller. And if I want to put in the dollar symbol, let's put those in here as well. Hit the Home tab and select the dollar symbol. And if I'm done, if I'm satisfied with this, I just have to relabel this as sales by region 2021, for example, and I'm done. And I hit the save button and I'm done. Okay. And if you want to tabulate another pivot table, but this time to break it down by sales by the salespersons, let me show you a simple cool trick. All you need to do is right click on this, copy this worksheet, move it to the end, create a copy, and rename this as sales by salespersons 2021. Okay, and if I do not require the region filter anymore, I simply drag it out and throw it out. And since I want the salesperson, I would put salesperson down into the row here. And you can immediately see that the table now reflects the sales, the total sales of each salesperson. So for example, April has a total sale of 10,789, and this is her breakdown for the year. So she has sold 4 products across the 4 quarters. I can minimize this. All right. And I can also organize this as in descending order. So from the highest to the lowest, I just need to do a right click and sort this from the largest to the smallest, and there I have it. I can also do this in terms of percentage again. I can right click, I can show this as a percentage. So you can see that Matt has the highest sales. In 2021, he has contributed 20.3%, and John has the smallest sale. Let me now show you a cool trick to update the data in your pivot table. So for example, if I were to return to my data set, and if John here has actually contributed to some sales here in quarter 2, let's put in 10,000. And if I were to go back to the pivot chart, I simply can reflect this change by doing a right click and doing a refresh. And if you look at the sales figure for John, it should now be much higher. So his input for quarter 2 is 10,000. So quarter 2 should increase by 10,000. So let's have a look at John here. His quarter 2 sales over here should now reflect 12,000. So let's do that. Let's refresh. And you can see that this change has been updated. So this is the cool thing about pivot tables. Any updates, you simply need to do a refresh and the changes will be updated. All right. Let me show you another cool trick. If you can also add a slicer function, all you need to do is to hit the pivot table analyze tab and insert a slicer. So let's insert a slicer for the salesperson. Let's click OK. Let's select April and see what happens. So you can see that when I did this, it only shows me the data for April, and her breakdown is as such. Let's minimize this and let's show another example for June. And again, it only shows me the data for June. And if I want to reflect all the sales for all of the salespersons, I just have to hit this multi-select button, and let's select all of them into our table. Let's minimize this. All right, so if you find that this is the data that you need, then all you need to do is, again, just clean up the format. So let's say I want to make this wider. and I'm done. All right, and all you need to do is to save your changes. Right. So at this juncture, I want to encourage you to take some time to view this video again and to explore the many functions that pivot table affords. And with practice, you will get much more proficient and you will enjoy the process of using pivot tables to create the tables that you need in a blink of an eye. I just want to take this opportunity to return back to the first pivot table that we created using the recommended pivot tables option. And by now, you might have guessed that you can actually further customize these tables. So for example, if I want to add the sales data for quarter 2, 3, and 4, I just have to hit quarters 2, 3, and 4. And if I'm done, I just have to format my tables. Let's make this bold. And let's justify them here. Let's look at alignment. Let's justify them. All right, and I'm done. So you can use a combination of the recommended pivot tables and as well as build and customize the pivot tables from scratch. So I hope you have enjoyed this session. Do give pivot table a try, and I will come back in future with more advanced tricks and tips to further enhance your pivot tables. So I'll see you at the next session. Bye everyone.